The city lights of Seattle blurred through rain-streaked windows as Cameron Hayes stood frozen, staring at the cardboard sign in his hands. Homeless and hungry, it read, "Kicked out for being gay." His father's voice echoed behind him, steady and certain. "This is the only way, son. We need to know who they really are." But Cameron wasn't thinking about business tests or future employees. He was thinking about Jamie Morrison, the boy who died alone 7 years ago, holding a sign just like this one. Cameron was 18 when Jamie called him that winter night, voice breaking through the phone. His father had found their messages, the "I love yous" they'd hidden for months. Jamie was standing outside his house with a duffel bag and nowhere to go. "Can you help me? Cam, please. I have nowhere else." Cameron remembered the silence that followed, the fear that seized his throat, the shame that kept him from saying yes. "I can't, Jamie. I'm sorry. Well, I'm so sorry." Those were the last words they ever spoke. 3 months later, police found Jamie's body in an alley 3 blocks from Swedish Hospital. Hypothermia, they said. 17 years old, they said. Nobody stopped to help. They didn't say. But Cameron knew. He'd seen the diary entry Jamie left behind. Ink smudged with tears, or rain, or both. "Cam, I understand why you couldn't help. I hope you find the courage I couldn't. Love always, Jay." Cameron came out to his parents 2 weeks after the funeral, expecting rejection, bracing for the same fate. Instead, his father held him. His mother cried and said she loved him. They gave him everything Jamie never had. That privilege came with a weight Cameron carried every single day. Now, standing in his father's office at Lighthouse Technologies, Cameron understood what Robert Hayes was really asking. This wasn't about finding a competent director. It was about finding someone who would see the Jamies of the world, who would stop when everyone else walked past. The company name itself was a promise. Lighthouse, a beacon for those who'd lost their way. 40% of homeless youth are LGBTQ, his father said quietly, pulling up statistics on the screen. Most cite family rejection. Early intervention saves lives, Cameron, but only if people with power choose to see them. Cameron picked up the worn jacket, smelling of thrift stores and years of use. He looked at his reflection in the window, seeing not the MBA graduate from Northwestern, not the future COO, but the ghost of the boy he should have been brave enough to save. "I'll do it," he said. "Not for the test, for Jamie, for every kid still waiting for someone to stop." His father nodded, understanding etched in the lines around his eyes. "Then let's find out who has the courage you wish you'd had." The rain fell harder as Cameron stepped onto the street corners at dawn. Cardboard sign propped against his chest. $200 bills tucked loosely in his pocket where they'd fall easily. He wasn't testing employees. He was asking a question that haunted him every day. When faced with someone's pain, what will you do? 3 candidates would walk past him that morning. Only one would change everything. Follow Hard Stories to see what happened next, because sometimes the smallest choice reveals the biggest truth about who we really are. Marcus Wellington saw the money first. 2 crisp bills lying on the damp concrete beside the sleeping homeless man. His phone buzzed in his pocket with another message from the hospital billing department. $40,000 for his mother's surgery. $40,000 he didn't have. His hand moved before his conscience caught up, fingers closing around the bills, eyes scanning the empty street. The man didn't stir. Nobody saw. Marcus walked faster, shame burning in his chest alongside desperate relief, convincing himself that need justified the taking, that his mother's life mattered more than some stranger's loss. Jessica Chen approached the same corner minutes later, heels clicking against pavement, iPad clutched tight with interview notes she'd reviewed a dozen times already. Stanford MBA, senior manager. Proof that her parents' sacrifice meant something. She saw the homeless man, saw his cardboard sign about being gay, and kicked out. And something cold slid through her chest. Disgust mixed with fear, mixed with the terrible awareness that her parents had worked 3 jobs each, so she wouldn't end up like this. She saw money on the ground, saw an opportunity to prove she was nothing like the person sleeping rough on Seattle streets. She took it without breaking stride, without looking back, telling herself this was different. She'd earned the right to take what others lost through their own poor choices. Tyler Brooks was running late, his cheap blazer damp from the bus ride, when he spotted the figure curled against the building. He almost walked past, almost pretended not to see, because he was already nervous about interviewing for a position that felt impossibly beyond his reach. Community college graduate competing against Ivy League credentials. But then he saw the sign, kicked out for being gay. His chest tightened with a recognition so visceral it stopped him mid-step. He'd written those same words once, 3 years ago, sitting under an overpass with cardboard torn from a dumpster behind Pike Place Market. Tyler crouched down, noticing the money scattered near the man's hand. "Hey, buddy," he said softly, "you dropped this." The man didn't wake fully, just mumbled something incoherent. Tyler picked up the bills, placed them carefully back in the man's jacket pocket, then did something that surprised even himself. He pulled out his wallet, looking at the $45 inside. Money meant for groceries that week. He took 20, the same amount a stranger named David had given him years ago when Tyler had nothing. He found a receipt in his pocket and wrote an address he knew by heart: Lambert House, LGBT Youth Center, Capitol Hill. "They help. Please go." Before he stood, and Tyler touched the man's shoulder, a gesture he remembered receiving on his darkest night, and whispered words David had once said to him: "You're not alone, okay, I promise." He walked toward Lighthouse Technologies with less money and more peace than he'd felt in months, touching the memorial bracelet on his wrist. "For you, David, I'm keeping my promise." Inside the building, Cameron Hayes watched the security footage on his phone, seeing exactly who each candidate was when they thought nobody important was looking. Marcus, desperate and guilty. Jessica, cold and calculating. Tyler, tender and giving. He texted his father a single name, then went to change his clothes. The real test was just beginning, because character isn't revealed in what people say during interviews. It's revealed in what they do when they think their choices don't matter, when they believe nobody's watching, when compassion costs something real. The three candidates were about to discover that every moment had mattered, every choice had been seen, and the homeless man they'd encountered wasn't a stranger at all. He was the mirror showing them exactly who they'd become, and for two of them, the reflection would be unbearable. The conference room felt smaller, with silence pressing against its glass walls. Sarah, the HR director, had asked the question that seemed simple, but landed like a stone in deep water. "Do you consider yourself a good person?" And why Marcus straightened his Yale tie, confidence returning to his voice. "Absolutely," he began. "I graduated summa cum laude. I mentor underprivileged kids twice monthly through Big Brothers. I donate regularly to Red Cross, Habitat for Humanity, St. Jude's. At work, I've mentored 6 people into leadership roles. I follow rules, work hard, treat people fairly in professional settings." His voice shifted, touched by something raw. "Look, I wasn't warm with that homeless person earlier, but my mother is dying of cancer. Medical bills are $180,000. I can't save everyone when I'm trying to save my own family. That doesn't make me bad. That makes me human." Jessica Chen sat straighter, her answer prepared like a presentation. "Yes, I consider myself a good person. My parents left China with $300 and a dream. They worked 3 jobs each so I could have opportunities they never did. I'm the first in my family to attend college. Stanford MBA on full scholarship that I earned. I've never cheated, never lied on my resume, never taken credit for others' work. I follow policy to the letter, evaluate fairly, don't play favorites." About earlier, "I wasn't trying to be cruel. I've worked too hard to get here. I can't afford distractions or risks. My parents gave up their entire lives for this moment. If I fail, their sacrifice was for nothing. Being cautious doesn't make me heartless. It makes me responsible." Tyler Brooks looked at his hands, at the memorial bracelet circling his wrist, and his voice came out barely above a whisper. Honestly, I don't know if I can call myself a good person. Sarah leaned forward. Why not? Because good people don't let others suffer when they can help. Tyler took a breath that seemed to hurt. 3 years ago, I was that guy you saw today. Marcus and Jessica went still. I was 23. I came out to my parents. My dad said no son of his was gay and told me to get out that same night. I lived on Seattle streets for 8 months, slept under the Interstate 5 overpass, showered at the public library, ate from dumpsters behind restaurants on Pike Street. His voice cracked but continued. People stepped over me every single day. Some were kind, dropped $1 or a sandwich. Most looked through me like I was invisible. That's when you realize how easy it is for humans to ignore suffering. Then I met David. He was 54, worked as a line cook at a diner. One night he found me shivering behind his restaurant. He didn't call police or throw me out. He said, "Kid, you're coming home with me." David let me sleep on his couch for 6 months. No rent, got me a job washing dishes, taught me being gay wasn't wrong, being ashamed was, helped me apply to community college. He became the father I should have had. Tyler pulled the bracelet off, holding it like something sacred. David died last year from AIDS complications. Before he passed, he made me promise something. Pay it forward. Be the person I was for you. When I gave that man food today, I wasn't being heroic. I was keeping a promise to the person who saved my life. His tears fell freely now. I don't know if I'm a good person. I just know I can't walk past someone hurting without trying. Because I remember what it felt like when everyone walked past me. Maybe that makes me good. Maybe it just makes me someone who remembers. I can't look at myself in the mirror, but if I let someone go hungry when I have food to give, that's all I know. Nobody spoke. Marcus stared at the floor, guilt written across his features. Jessica wiped her eyes, surprised by her own emotion. Sarah wrote something down, nodded slowly, then stood. Thank you all for your honesty. The CEO will join us shortly with the decision. The door closed behind her, leaving 3 strangers suddenly vulnerable, suddenly human, suddenly aware that the real interview had never been about credentials at all. It had been about the moments between the questions, the choices made when they thought nobody was measuring their worth, the small decisions that revealed whether they'd learned to see people or had trained themselves to look away. In the silence that followed, each of them understood that something had shifted, that the test was over, and that the results would matter far more than any job offer possibly could. The door opened and Robert Hayes entered with the presence of someone who'd built an empire on principles most companies only claim to value. Behind him walked a young man in clean clothes, face washed, eyes clear. Marcus squinted. Jessica gasped. Tyler went pale as recognition crashed over him like a wave. That's the homeless guy. Cameron Hayes stepped forward, meeting each person's gaze, holding longest on Tyler, who looked like he might collapse. I'm Robert Hayes, CEO and founder of Lighthouse Technologies, and this is my son, Cameron. The words hung in the air like an indictment. You've been part of an experiment today, Robert continued. Not a test of professional qualifications. Those are proven, but a test of character, humanity, who you are when you think nobody important is watching. Marcus realized first, the money I said to him on. Jessica followed. The homeless man was him. Tyler couldn't speak, shaking as Cameron's voice cut through his shock. 7 years ago, someone I loved died on these streets. He was homeless. He was gay. He was 17. People walked past him every single day. Cameron walked to the window, back to the mall, composure barely holding. His name was Jamie Morrison. We were in love. We were 17. When his father discovered us, he threw Jamie out in the middle of winter. Cameron turned around, tears visible now. Jamie called me that night, begging for help, and I said no. I was too scared, too worried about what people would think, too much of a coward to stand up for the person I loved. Jamie lived on the streets for 3 months. Cameron continued, voice breaking. He slept in alleys. He begged for food. He was beaten twice. And on Valentine's Day, he froze to death in an alley 3 blocks from Swedish Hospital. Cameron pulled out a worn journal, hands trembling as he read aloud. Cam, if you ever read this, I forgive you. I understand why you couldn't help, but I hope you find the courage I couldn't. Love always. Jay. The silence in the room was absolute. Marcus had tears streaming down his face. Jessica covered her mouth. Tyler clutched his chest like his heart might stop. Robert spoke into the devastation. My son came out to us 2 weeks after Jamie's funeral. We supported him, loved him, gave him everything Jamie never had, but that privilege came with responsibility. Lighthouse Technologies isn't just a company. Our name means something. We guide people who've lost their way. 30% of our employees are LGBTQ. Many were homeless. Many were rejected by family. This company was built to be a sanctuary, and we needed to know if our future leaders would protect that. Cameron added, voice raw. I needed to know if you would see Jamie, if you would see me, if you would see any human being struggling and choose to care. Sarah pulled up the screen showing footage from that morning. Marcus taking money while his phone showed messages about his mother's surgery bills. Cameron's voice was quieter now. Marcus, I heard your call. I know about your mother. Desperation doesn't make you evil, but it doesn't erase the choice you made. Jessica appeared next, taking money and muttering about cleaning up the area. Jessica's voice cracked when she spoke. I have no excuse. I was disgusted. I'm so ashamed. Then Tyler's footage played, and Cameron had to look away. Tyler returning money, giving his own, writing the shelter address, touching Cameron's shoulder, whispering words about not being alone. You gave me the same amount Jamie had in his pocket when he died. Cameron said directly to Tyler, $20. Tyler broke completely, sobbing into his hands. Marcus stood, shaking. I have no defense. When my mother was diagnosed, strangers donated $15,000 on GoFundMe. People who didn't know us gave what they could. Today I threw a donut at someone who needed help. I failed every test and I deserved to be rejected. Jessica stood next. My parents taught me to work hard and help others. Today I only remembered the first part. My mom cleaned houses so I could go to Stanford, and I treated someone like they were dirty, dangerous, less than human. Cameron, I'm sorry. Jamie deserved better. Everyone deserves better. Tyler stood last, unsteady. I didn't do anything special. I gave you food because someone gave me food. I told you you're worthy because someone told me I'm worthy. David found me the same way I found you today. When I saw you, I saw my own face 3 years ago. I wasn't being good. I was being grateful. Cameron approached him. Tyler, do you know what makes someone good? It's not perfection, it's memory. You remembered your pain and chose to prevent someone else from feeling it. That's the definition of compassion. Robert announced his decision. Marcus and Jessica would start in junior positions with 6-month probation, a second chance to prove they'd learned. Tyler Brooks was hired as director of operations, effective immediately. When Tyler protested that he didn't deserve it, Cameron's response was simple and devastating. Yes, you do. Because when I was on that sidewalk, cold and hungry, you didn't see a business opportunity or a test. You saw Jamie, and you chose kindness. That's exactly who we need leading this company into the future. 3 months transformed everything in ways both visible and hidden. Marcus spent every Saturday at Lambert House LGBT Youth Center, serving dinner and sharing his story with teenagers who needed to hear that desperation doesn't define you forever, that second chances are real if you're brave enough to take them. Jessica led diversity workshops at Lighthouse Technologies, teaching others about unconscious bias by starting with her own failures. Her voice steady as she told rooms full of employees about the day she let fear control her compassion and how she was learning that strength isn't about perfection, but awareness. Tyler sat in his new office on the 18th floor, surrounded by thank you notes from team members who'd never had a boss who actually listened, who remembered what it felt like not to be heard. But the real change came the evening Lighthouse Technologies launched the Jamie Morrison Memorial Fund. 200 people gathered in the main hall beneath a banner that read, "Guiding Youth Home." Robert opened by explaining that tonight marks something 7 years in the making, a program born from loss but built on hope. Cameron took the stage, Jamie's photo glowing on the screen behind him, young and smiling and alive in a way he'd never get to be again. Jamie Morrison was 17 when he died. Cameron said, "He died because he had nowhere to go, no one to help, no second chance. This fund exists so no other kid suffers his fate." The program offered immediate housing through partnerships with local shelters, job training with paid internships at Lighthouse Technologies, free mental health support, and when safe, family mediation to help heal the wounds that drove kids to the streets in the first place. Statistics appeared on screen. 40% of homeless youth are LGBTQ. 68% cite family rejection as the primary cause. With support, 78% achieve stable housing within 2 years. Early intervention saves lives. Then Tyler took the microphone, nervous but determined, and told the truth he'd been carrying alone. 3 years ago, I was homeless. I slept under bridges. I ate from dumpsters. I wanted to die. Then David saved me. David's photo appeared, kind eyes in a chef's uniform, and Tyler's voice broke as he explained that David never got to see him succeed but believed he would. "Today, I'm donating 50% of my first year's salary to this fund," Tyler announced. "But more than money, I'm committing my time. Every Thursday, I'll mentor youth in this program because David mentored me and someone before him mentored David. This is how we survive. We lift each other up." He held up David's memorial bracelet, voice thick with tears. "David, this is for you." The standing ovation lasted minutes. The first 3 participants were introduced that night. Maya, 16, trans girl kicked out by her family in Spokane. Jordan, 17, non-binary, fled an abusive home in Portland. Chris, 19, a gay, homeless after aging out of foster care. Maya spoke with a voice that shook but didn't break. 2 weeks ago, I was sleeping in a park thinking my life was over. Now I have a bed, food, people who see me as me. I start tech training Monday. Thank you for not giving up on kids like me. Later, on the rooftop terrace, Cameron and Tyler stood looking at Seattle's lights, holding coffee in comfortable silence. "This is incredible," Tyler said. "Jamie would be so proud." Cameron's response was honest. "It's not enough. It'll never bring him back." Tyler turned to face him. "No, but it'll save others. That's what David taught me. Grief doesn't disappear. It transforms." We turned pain into purpose. 6 months later, headlines celebrated the program's 95% success rate, its expansion to Portland and San Francisco, former homeless youth now employed at Fortune 500 companies. Marcus held his mother's hand in her hospital room as she whispered that she was proud of who he was becoming. Jessica sat with her parents explaining in Mandarin that she'd made mistakes but was fixing them. Her mother responding that they were proud not of perfection, but of growth. Tyler placed flowers on David's grave, the headstone reading, "He saw people," promising again that he'd keep paying it forward. And Cameron, walking to work past the corner where he'd once pretended to be invisible, stopped when he saw another young person with a sign about being kicked out. He knelt down, gave his card for the Jamie Morrison Fund, and said the words he wished someone had said to Jamie. "Call this number. They'll help, I promise." Have you ever walked past someone suffering and wondered if you should stop? What held you back? And what would it take for you to choose differently next time? Follow Heart Stories for journeys about the courage to see each other, truly see each other, even when it costs us something to care.